Hey guys, welcome to Through the Bible Verse by Verse, a plain and simple study of the entire Bible, book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse. We are in Exodus chapter 37. Now I'm going to skim through 37, 38, and 39. Because again, it is tedious, it's just repetitive, because keep this in mind. And then also keep this in mind when we get to the book of Leviticus. Especially Leviticus, because it is the specific manual for the priest. The reason I said that is because we're constantly seeing the repeating of commandments. This is the remember earlier we saw God giving Moses very meticulous instructions on the construction of the tabernacle. This would be the place of worship until the temple is built, which from this vantage point is another close to 500 years. But this, nevertheless, it is, again, meticulous, very specific, detailed instructions. So I'm just going to just list them, and we get to a point where we kind of go over them. So this is the again, construction. The first before it was the instructions on it, and so chapters 37 now beginning with chapters 37 is the actual construction. So before was the instructions on the tabernacle. This is the actual construction of the tabernacle. And then when we get to 39, God is going to have them assemble the tabernacle. Keep this in mind, the tabernacle is a tent. It was just big, a large tent, and it was a portable tent. Okay, so again, you will see I'm just going to list and read through. I'm not going to go through all of the meticulous instructions here, and you probably would thank me for it. But if you want to read it, it's there. You can go through and read it. I have read through it several times and will continue to read it, but for this purpose I'm just going to again just read the highlights. Okay, so chapter 37 verse 1 says, Bezalel made an ark of the ark of wood 45 inches long and 27 inches wide and 27 inches high. Now, this is the Ark of the Covenant, okay? This is the Ark of the Covenant. I'm going to read this because I want to make a point about this. He said, verse 2, he overlaid it with pure gold inside and out, made golden moldings around it. He cast 4 gold rings for it, for its 4 feet, 2 rings on the side and 2 rings on the other side. He made poles of archie wood and overlaid it with gold. He inserted the poles into the rings on the side of the ark carrying the ark, the sides of the ark carrying the ark. Now, here is the thing about this. This is the Ark of the Covenant, and later on we're going to see where David will make a mistake in how he handles it. Now you notice the poles that were designed. He's going to make a mistake, and he's going to try to transport the ark, and he's going to just botch this completely, because first and foremost, only the priest was to handle the things of worship, the tabernacle, all of those things. Only the priest, and then so David makes a big mistake. It actually cost the guy his life. Verse 6 says, he made the mercy seat of pure gold. And then he says, verse 7, he made 2 cherubims of gold. And then verse 8, I'm just again giving you the highlights. Let me skip down to verse 10. He constructed a table of archie wood. Let's get down to 16. He says, he made also the utensils that would be on the table out of pure gold, plates, cups, as well as bowls and pitchers. for pouring drink offerings. 17, then he made the lampstands out of pure hammered gold. Let's skip down to verse 23. He said he also made it 7 lamps, snuffers, fire pans, and pure gold. He made, verse 25, he made an altar of incense out of ochre wood. Verse 27, he made 2 gold rings for it under the molding of two of its sides, and he put these on the opposite side of the holders of the poles and carry it with. I'm going to go to chapter 38. Chapter 38. It says Bezalel constructed an altar of the burnt offering from acacia wood. Sorry for butchering these names. 2, he made horns for it on the 4 sides. The horns were of one piece, then he overlaid it with bronze. Now we're going to see this later on, where actually people sometimes would rush into the temple and they would grab hold of the horns. It's when they refer to it as the horns of the altar. For example, we're going to see this with Joab, David's general. He's going to, when he knows he's getting ready to be executed, he's going to run into the temple and grab hold of the horn of the altar. This was kind of a plea for mercy, even though it won't work for him. But anyway, verse 3 says he made all of the altar utensils, the pots, shovel, basins, meat forks, fire pans. He made all of the utensils of bronze. He said he also made the poles of ochre wood and overlaid them with bronze. Then he said he made the bronze basins and its stands from the bronze mirrors of the women who served at the entrance to the meetings. Then he made the courtyards, and he says the hangings on the south of the courtyards were finely spun linen 150 feet in length. Now you can see this is a pretty nice size tent, 150 feet. Let's see, let's skip down to verse 21. Now, he says, now, this is the inventory of the tabernacles. The tabernacle of the testimony that was recorded at Moses' command. It was the work of the Levites under the direction of Ithamar, son of Aaron's priest, Bezalel, son of Uri, and Hur, and the tribe of Judah, made everything that the Lord commanded him. With him was Aholibit, son of Ishmael, and the tribe of Dan, gems, cutter, and designs, and the embroiders with blue, purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine linens. Okay. Verse 24, all of the gold of the presentation offering that was used for the project, and all of the sanctuary. Now, from here, he's just going to give sort of the weight of the gold that was used in making the utensils and everything that was involved in that. I'm going to go to chapter 39. Again, like I say, you can, if you want to read this, it is kind of worth the read. I've read it several times. When I read through the Bible, of course, I take the time to read through it. So, all right, chapter 39, and he says they made especially woven garments for the ministry in the sanctuary, and the holy garments for Aaron from blue, purple, and scarlet yarns, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now, this is the priestly garments that they were to wear when they were ministering in the tabernacle. They were to wear these garments. They could not offer any offerings without wearing this garment, and among other things. Now, we're going to see this later on. We're going to see this. I'm trying to think what would probably in Leviticus, where I think the Leviticus and Numbers. Forgive me for not remembering right off. It would be actually Aaron's sons who were offered strange fires called, and they would be again struck down by God. So these are just priestly ornaments. Let me skip down verse 4. So they made shoulder pieces for attaching it. It was joined together with 2 wedges. Again, just some of the things that they are making. I'm going to skip down to verse 15. Verse 15. That they made braided chains of pure gold cords for the breast piece. They also fashioned the 2 gold filigrees settings and 2 gold rings, and attached the 2 rings to its 2 corners. Verse 19, they made 2 other gold rings and put them on the corner. These are all, again, a part of the priestly garment. Really, this entire most of this chapter is the priestly garments that they were to wear. 22, they made 2 woven robes of ephod, entirely blue yarn. Okay. Verse 24, they made 2 pomegranates of finely spun blue, purple, and scarlet yarns. Verse 25, they made bells of pure gold and attached the bells between the pomegranates all around the hem of the robes between the pomegranates. Now, what is interesting about these bells, I'm going to go on and read it because I think he said this right here. Verse 26, a bell and a pomegranate altering all around the lower hems of the robe to be worn for ministry. And so they made it just as Moses commanded. Now, one of the interesting things about the bells, it was kind of like when they would go in, you could hear the bells. So if you didn't hear the bells, people would go in and say, okay, the priests have to kind of go in and check on them. Maybe they passed out. And they also could have been judged too. So the bells kind of let them know that people can hear it outside as the priests were ministering within the temple, the areas where they would offer these offerings and different things like that. Okay, verse 27. They made the tunics of fine woven linen for Aaron and his sons. They also made turbans and an ornate headband of fine linen and undergarments, and the sash of finely spun linen in a broad purple, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn. They did just as Moses commanded. I want to pay attention to the undergarments. Only for this purpose, Mormons get criticized for wearing a certain kind of undergarment. Now, the reason why I'm saying that, this is just a sidebar here, that the undergarments were made. Sometimes you see that they're like people like Joseph Smith and even other religious people, they copy from the Bible and then kind of pervert it. So in their sense, they thought they were doing something. I mean, people think that Joseph Smith made it up, but in reality, he probably got it from the Bible. All right, then it says, verse 30, they also made a medallion and a holy diadem out of pure gold and wrote on it the inscription like the engraving on a seal, holy to the Lord. Then they attached a cord of blue yarn in order to mount it on the turban, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So this headpiece, they had a turban and all kinds of priestly garbs that they would work. Now, verse 32 says, so all the work for the tabernacle, the tent of the meeting, was finished. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent with all its furnishing, its claps, its planks, crossbars, its posts, bases, the coverings of the ram skin dyed red, and the covering of the manatee skins, the veil for the screens, the ark of the testimony with its poles, and the mercy seat, the table all its utensils, all the bread of the presence, and the pure gold lampstand with its lamps arranged in all of its utensils, as well as the oil for the lamp, the gold altar, the anointing oil, fragrant incense, the screen for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar with its bronze gates, its poles, and all of its utensils, the basins with its stand, the hangings of the courtyards, its posts, its bases, the screen for the gate of the courtyard, its ropes, its tents, pegs, and all of the equipment for the service, tabernacle, the tents of the meetings, and especially woven garments for ministry in the sanctuary. Now all of this, of course, we just skipped over, especially the woven garments for the ministry of the sanctuary, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garment for his sons to serve as priests. And the Israelites had done all the work according to everything that the Lord had commanded Moses. Now this is kind of interesting because, again, he is saying that one of the few times when they actually obeyed God's commands, when it came to the construction of the tabernacle, they obeyed in everything that God had commanded. Verse 42, the Israelites had done all the work according to everything the Lord had commanded Moses. Moses inspected all the work they had accomplished, and they had done just as the Lord had commanded. Then Moses blessed them. So this is kind of now the assembling of it. When we get into chapter 40, you will see the actual construction of it. And like I say, what this is it was a tent. And as we can see, part of this tent was quite long, it was quite involved. I mean, it was 150 feet, right? 150 feet at one point length. So, if you think about a house, 150 feet is probably 4 or 5 houses, maybe, depending on the size of the house, of course. Okay, but 5, 6 houses. So again, this was an extremely large tent. And one of the things they would do, of course, this was, we're going to see this later, that God starts off by saying that the firstborn male was kind of consecrated to be his priest. He's going to change that and give that ministry to the tribe of Levites. So if you were a Levite, if you were a Levite, your main purpose in life was you were the priest. You had no choice in it. God had already called you to be a priest. And so as such, they took care of all of the worship. And so they took care of the temple. They were the only ones instructed by God to take care of this temple. They could not, and that meant everything, the buildings, the maintenance. When it was time for them to move, the Levites had to disassemble the tabernacle. And then they had to carry. Only the Levites had to carry the tabernacle. When they would get to the next location, they would then set up the tabernacle. It was only the priests and the Levites who were commissioned to do that. Now remember, the whole tribe, so there was plenty of them, but nevertheless, it was their tribe. All right, I'll see you in chapter 40, which will close out the book of Exodus in the next study. See you then.